Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your weekly dose of college football. Week 1 is in the books. Let's get right into it. The AP poll came out yesterday due to there being a game on Monday. As you guys can see, UCLA with a big move. They beat LSU at home. That was an impressive win. They're up to number 16. Ole Miss, there's an SEC team up to number 20. They beat Louisville. We could see that coming. And then how about Auburn and their big quality win they had against Akron? They are up to number 25. Ohio State did pass Oklahoma after their poor performance against Tulane. And then obviously Georgia, who scored 0 offensive touchdowns. They move up to number 2. Georgia's got a phenomenal defense, but I still think that offense, it's just, I know Clemson's defense is good. You got to be able to generate some points. They looked anemic offensively. They looked phenomenal defensively. Clemson's offense completely lost. Some of that was due to Georgia's pressure, I understand, but DJ Ucla just looked completely lost out there. A&M maybe a little bit overrated. Didn't love their performance against Kent State. They're up to number 5 at this point over Clemson. People kind of pissed that Clemson only fell to 6th. I think Clemson has earned the benefit of the doubt at this point, considering, the last 5 or 6 years since the college football playoff started, they've had so much success. They're in a watered-down ACC. We understand that. So that doesn't surprise me at all that they only dropped to 6th. This CJ Stroud, on Thursday night, he had a crazy game. I didn't realize how crazy it was. Look at this. CJ Stroud had 5 completions for 236 yards and 4 touchdowns in the second half. Obviously those 2 long touchdown passes to Chris Olave, the one to Garrett Wilson, and then the little halfback screen to Trevion Henderson, the true freshman who needs way more playing time. He needs at least 15 touches a game, along with Myron Williams. They need to kind of phase Master Teague out. We'll have to see if they do that against Oregon. Obviously the big game this week, Ohio State and Oregon. Kind of an interesting storyline to watch, guys. I am from Ohio. I get a lot of the news, and there is some concern about Ohio State not selling out this weekend's game against Oregon. It is randomly a big noon game, which is surprising for a number of reasons. Number one, if Fox were to actually put this game in a primetime slot, there's really no competition. The only competition from ABC would be, I guess, Michigan and Washington, which is a completely watered-down game now due to Washington losing to an FCS school in Montana last week. That's an unranked versus unranked matchup. Really, there's no reason this game shouldn't be in primetime. Obviously, Oregon coming from the West Coast, you guys can see there's still 10,000 tickets available. And many of the Ohio State fans complaining about the ticket prices being too much, $160, $200 for a upper, tier ticket. You can see all those those little blue dots, those are still available seats. So if you watch the Big Ten noon broadcast, you look in the upper sections of Ohio Stadium, you're probably going to see a lot of big chunks of empty seats. An updated look at Heisman odds. Bryce Young, obviously. I saw there was one site that had Bryce Young plus 200, which is not good value for anyone this time of year after just one game. Bryce Young played really well. He barely got pressured. Alabama's absurd. He's obviously going to be the favorite at this point. Rattler really struggled. Well, I wouldn't say really struggled, but if you're going to win the Heisman against a team like Tulane, you got to put up 4 or 5 touchdowns. So that was a really rough game for Rattler. He's still in it. It doesn't kill you. I really like the value of CJ Stroud here. I think JT Daniels has 0 chance whatsoever at any sort of Heisman. Georgia has a completely easy schedule. If JT Daniels would have shown out against Clemson, he would have had the hype train. Now, Georgia wins due to their defense. Please do not bet for JT Daniels to win any sort of Heisman. It's not happening. I like CJ Stroud as the best odds there. I know he was shaky in week 1, but still 4 touchdowns, 1 interception going into a game against Oregon. We'll have to see. I expect Ohio State to beat Oregon pretty handily. We'll have to see what happens with Kayvon Thibodeau, the superstar pass rusher. I don't think he's going to play against Ohio State. UNC Hubert. So this was before their game against Virginia Tech. If you're getting nervous ahead of tonight, remember this. We have Sam Howell. They don't. I really like Sam Howell. Dude, imagine Sam Howell on Ohio State. Like on a team with Olave and Wilson. Oh my goodness. He doesn't have any weapons. Everyone left him. I really like Sam Howell. Obviously, they end up losing, the number 10 ranked team. They lose to Virginia Tech, and I got to give a shout out to the dude in the comments. He's a Virginia Tech fan. He said if Virginia Tech wins, you got to give me a shout out. I like Virginia Tech. I hope Virginia Tech upsets Clemson. If they make the ACC championship game, I don't see it happening. But Virginia Tech, they're up to 19th now in the AP poll. All right, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. The ACC, very watered-down conference. How about Miami still being ranked, by the way? I think they're 22nd. That doesn't really surprise me. You get crushed by Bama, you're still probably going to be ranked. But let's take a look. So this is an SEC Instagram account mocking the, I guess, Big Ten style of football. It says Big Ten football is so entertaining. Punt, fumble, punt, miss field goal, punt, downs, punt. And then later that night, obviously, we had the Clemson-Georgia game. And again, you can say the defenses were really good, which they were, but that was some bad offensive football, man. I mean, in this day and age, with how tailored, all of the calls and all of the, the new officiating with the pass interference, how tailored that is to more offense, you shouldn't. There were 0 offensive touchdowns in that game. That's ridiculous. I don't care how good the defenses are. I love watching good defense, but that's ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a quick look at the FBS remaining undefeated teams. I always like doing this every single week. You can see it's kind of dwindled down a little bit. That's going to continue to dwindle down as the season goes on. There's Kansas. Oh, yeah, we love seeing Kansas there. Safe to say it was a bad weekend to be smart. Stanford loses, Duke loses to Charlotte, Northwestern loses, and Vanderbilt loses. Yes, I wonder, did Harvard play? We'll have to see that. Quick injury updates. Ronnie Bell, unfortunately, out for the year. It was looking like it was just one game and one half. He was going to have a breakout year. He made an absurd one-handed catch along the sidelines and then had a 76-yard touchdown. So unfortunate for Michigan. He's out for the year. And Mo Ibrahim is also out for the year. He had 30 carries in the middle of the third quarter. So Muhammad Abraham's final stat line against Ohio State was 30 carries for 163 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he got injured in the middle of the third quarter. PJ Fleck was running the poor dude into the ground. 30 carries into the middle of the third quarter. That's crazy. Matt Corral, the hype train is real. Monday night against Louisville, 22 of 32, over 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. That Ole Miss offense is fun to watch. They are currently ranked. This is the top 10 games of week 1. They're going to have the Penn State-Wisconsin game number 1. I would actually flip-flop it and put the Notre Dame-Florida State game at number 1 personally. But those are some other good games. You've got Boise State, UCF coming back against Boise State. How about Fresno State making it a game against Oregon? Top 10 Heisman power rankings. So obviously very early into the season, just week 1, Matt Corral, Bryce Young, Kenneth Walker, that dude put in work against Northwestern. My goodness. Desmond Ridder, he looked really good, but I think it was against Miami of Ohio. And then there's some other guys. How about Kyle Hamilton? Kayshon Boutte, that's the next great LSU receiver. What a mess LSU is, man. Oh my goodness. But that is the next great LSU receiver. College football week 1 takeaways. Last year was a fluke for Indiana. I agree with that. I had Indiana losing 5 games this year. They have a really tough schedule. Obviously, the week 1 loss, they got drubbed by Iowa. I think everyone can agree it's looking like that. Malik Willis is looking like QB1 so far. I mean, he threw 1 touchdown against an FCS school. I wouldn't go that far. Bama is still the best team in college football by far. Yeah, I mean, dude, so week 1, you get all these overreactions from people, and it's just like, guys, calm down. Yes, Alabama looks great, but you have all these people tweeting out, no one's beating Alabama, no one can beat Alabama. It's a long season, ladies and gentlemen. Let's calm down. Yes, Alabama is the undisputed number 1 team in college football right now. They looked phenomenal. Again, the one thing, I've said this before, when you compare Ohio State and Alabama, the one thing as an Ohio State fan I'm so jealous of is just how disciplined and how well coached Alabama's secondary is compared to Ohio State. It's day and night. It's crazy. But guys, it's like you see all these people tweeting out, no one's going to beat Alabama. It's like, it's one game. Can we just calm down? Please, let's calm down. Georgia is living up to the hype. That's a big one they had against Clemson, no doubt. I'm still concerned about their offense. Bijan Robinson is the best running back in college football. I love Bijan Robinson, baby. LSU needs a culture change and a new coach. Yeah, Ed Orgeron. At this point, it's safe to say 2019 was a fluke. They got really lucky with that crazy offense they had. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That was a fluke. Ed Orgeron, it doesn't look like he knows what he's doing out there, honestly. So this is a opinion poll, it looks like, on the top 20 overall teams. Still having LSU ranked is a bit of a surprise to me. Penn State moves up to 7. Yeah, Penn State, that was a big win. I still am concerned about Sean Clifford, man. He missed Jahan Dotson deep, wide open, and it's just like their offense was anemic. The time of possession was crazy in Wisconsin flavor. This dude still has Wisconsin 12th. I still think Wisconsin's a good team, but Graham Mertz is going to have to be better. He really is. Iowa State over Cincinnati, I guess, is a little hot. How about Ole Miss at 10? I mean, I think that's a bit ridiculous. I would put them at maybe 15 or 16. You know what team I really like? I really like TCU this year. Really like them. USC there as well, kind of just handling their business. Nobody's talking about them. So this is every single conference week 1 power rankings. And there you go, the ACC, Virginia Tech over Clemson. I don't agree with that. No, I don't agree with that. Where's Miami? I understand Miami lost, but they're below... Miami's below Syracuse. They're below Virginia. These are some interesting power rankings. The Big Ten, you've got Ohio State. You've got Penn State, Iowa. How about Maryland could be a decent team with Tua's younger brother? They really could be decent. They could win 8 games this year. It'll be interesting to see. The Big 12, I guess these are just based off of one game because they have Oklahoma 4th. Yeah, these are some weird rankings, guys. I don't know. UCLA 1st in the Pac-12. A lot of people jumping on the UCLA bandwagon. No doubt. Top 50 wide receiver performances week 1. Keyshawn Boutte. Number 1, there's Chris Olave. I love Chris Olave. Wan'Dale Robinson. I am so pissed Nebraska lost to Wan'Dale Robinson. Oh, that sucks for them. Drake London. Yeah, Drake London's going to be probably a late first round pick in the draft. I'm trying to find, where's that Ole Miss receiver? Oh, was this before he played? That Drummond from Ole Miss. He was like the number 1 graded receiver. There's Jahan Dotson. I love Jahan Dotson. 18. How about number 50? A.T. Perry. So his first name is A.T. That's a great name for Wake Forest. I'll have to watch him. That's a phenomenal name. Is it too early to give Matt Corral the Heisman? I would probably say yes, it's too early to give him. It's been 1 game. Folks, he had a nice week 1. What kind of a question is that? I don't know. LSU plays McNeese State this Saturday. McNeese State's QB is Cody Orgeron, Ed Orgeron's son. Imagine if McNeese somehow won and then Ed Orgeron gets fired the next day because he lost to an FCS and his son throws for 400 yards. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Okay, now this one, this has to be shared with everyone. Fordham faced Nebraska. Nebraska won 52-7, right? Typical. You would think Nebraska would blow them out after their week 1 loss. You know, Fordham's overmatched. Look at this. A player on Fordham, 31 total tackles. 31 total tackles. So that got me thinking. I was like, how many times did Nebraska run the ball for this dude to get 31 tackles? Nebraska, 65 total rushing attempts. Oh, like, how did I not know about this until today? I literally saw a tweet saying this dude had 31 tackles, 14 of them solo. And then I was like, Nebraska, how many times did they run the ball for him to get that many tackles? 65 rushing attempts for Nebraska. That's pretty crazy. Top 5 transfer performances week 1. Kenneth Walker, 23 carries, 264 yards, 4 touchdowns. How about former Oklahoma quarterback? 7 touchdown passes. Jameson Williams, yeah, the kid from Ohio State, yeah. So a lot of people are probably wondering why couldn't Jameson Williams get playing time at Ohio State? Really, what happened is Garrett Wilson transferred to being more of an outside receiver. He was in the slot. He transfers to being outside. We already have Olave on one side, Garrett Wilson on the other. So he was kind of phased out of the offense, and that's why he transferred. Obviously, him transferring to Alabama and then playing while on Alabama isn't great. I would have preferred for him to transfer to really any other school other than Alabama, but it just goes to show you how deep Ohio State's receiver room is, to where you've got a guy like Jameson Williams who literally is starting at Alabama because he couldn't start at Ohio State. That is a true fact. Now, you could say, well, they could have gotten him on the field. I'm sure we would have, but you've got guys like Olave and Wilson. He's not going to start in front of either of those two guys. And guys, how could I almost forget? We've got our random 5-star of the week. Back in 2015, it is C.C. Jefferson, a pass rusher from Florida who ended up signing with the University of Florida as the number 7 overall player. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for your weekly dose of college football. Big games this week. We've got Oregon at Ohio State. I expect Ohio State to win that game. How about Iowa at Iowa State? I know a lot of people are kind of off of Iowa State after their close win. I warned people in the preseason, Iowa State's getting too hyped up. I've got Iowa winning a close game, maybe a 20-17 type game on the road. That would really bolster their hype after beating and blowing out Indiana week 1. That would hype them up. And then how about the nightcap? Kind of lost its luster a little bit. Michigan taking on Washington. I think that's a low-scoring game that Michigan probably pulls out. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.